All right, now let's go to Dick Armey. He's in front of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Of course, he's a former Senate Majority Leader for the Republicans. Okay, now he runs FreedomWorks, which is a front group for corporate America as they go and try to kill several bills. And he's definitely not in favor of health care reform, and he's been adamant. He's been all over television, and in this case, he's going to testify as an expert on the issue. Okay, now keep that in mind as Representative Chris Van Hollen is going to question him here, and he's going to have an interesting admission. Clip number 9.
Would you have voted for the unemployment compensation packages that were in the economic recovery bill and that the House has passed since then?
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
We passed unemployment compensation.
I probably would have. I may very reluctantly have voted for them while I argued we ought to be doing something more productive, more responsible, with a greater heart and a greater sense of dignity and future for these folks.
You would have voted yes. I just want to make it clear.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the package. I didn't look at the package. I never voted on something I didn't read.
How about the tax reduction components of the economic recovery bill?
If there were any tax reduction components that were not merely income redistributional, and I could possibly assess as to have something to engage savers and investors in more of that activity, which would result in job creation, I would have been supportive.
Let me ask you this. You keep saying if there were. Did you read the economic recovery bill?
No, I didn't. I had no reason to read it. I wasn't going to vote on it.
Mr. Armey, you've been commenting an awful lot, both here and in the press, about the economic recovery bill. We asked members of Congress to read it when they vote on it and are considering it. You've said a lot about it, so I'm a little surprised to learn that you haven't read it.
If my neighbor's got a dead cat stinking up his yard, I don't have to know how it got there to know it's a dead cat stinking up the yard.
What's that? Well, I think it's important to read things. I understand there's some comments suggesting that knowing stuff is a bad thing. But it seems to me that we owe it to the people that we're communicating with that we have an understanding to read the information.
Okay, there's great stuff in there. First, I got to handle the dead cat analogy. It's driving me crazy. Okay, now it seems so folksy and cute. My neighbor's got a dead cat. I don't need to know how it got there. Well, first of all, we're not dealing with a dead cat. We're dealing with a bill which you claim to be an expert on. An expert on. But you didn't even read the bill. Now, add to that the great irony that your party, the Republican Party, has been campaigning on the fact that the Democrats have not read the bill. I mean, that was one of their main platforms. You guys remember that? For weeks and months on end, they'd be like, oh, they'd go to have their guys go. In fact, FreedomWorks sent people to town halls asking Democratic leaders and the congressmen whether they read the bill at a time when the bill didn't exist. And they're like, we got you, you didn't read the bill. But they're like, there's 7 versions of it. We don't have a final version yet. Now there is a final version, and the head of FreedomWorks hasn't read the bill. And Dick, they're not asking you, how did the bill get there? I don't care how the dead cat got there. They're asking you, what is it? They're asking you, is the cat dead? How do you know if it's a dead cat? I said, I know it's a dead cat. I didn't look at it, but I know. Aren't I folksy? No, you're retarded. Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse the, inappropriate language. But, I mean, that's just proud of being ignorant. And he comes on as an expert on this. He's going to lecture the congressman on what to do about the bill. He goes on TV all the time. And he hasn't read a word of it. The dead cat. No, can't have it. Can't play with it. Can't win with it. That's Dick Armey for you.